Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover on the Chausson V.I.P 640 2021 model. So walking around the the driver's side of the vehicle first on our walk round, you've got your LPG locker here. So this all opens with one key for all the motorhome side, which is this key here, it's round one. And obviously you've got your fate key for the cab. So in here you can fit one 6 kilogram propane gas bottle, which you would tie in. Or if you did want to upgrade it in the future to a gas flow system, you can get an 11 kilogram gas flow bottle in here. But unfortunately in propane you can't get an 11, you can only get a 13, which is too big. So it would be a 6 that would fit. And to get the pigtail on, it's a left hand thread, so opposite threads with it being a gas, and then turn on and off at the top of the bottle. And always make sure it's off when travelling, and the bottle is securely strapped in with the straps provided. Walking further down the vehicle, you've got your awning light and your 2 fridge vents. You've got your external gas point here, so you'd get a gas spigot which clips into here, and then you would need a Jubilee clip and some orange gas hose. So the orange gas hose would clip into the spigot, put a Jubilee clip around it, tighten with a screwdriver, and then you'd want to get a Jubilee clip for the other end, so for your Cadillac or for your gas heater, for your awning or various other gas appliances. Turn on and off here to isolate the gas to this point, and that will work off the main bottle at the front of the vehicle instead of carrying a spare. Behind the back wheel indicates that it is your wastewater dump, so that's just on the handle here. So you just pull that forward and it'll drop the water like so. You'd normally drive over a grid on the side called the motorhome service bay to drop your grey waste. This is anything you've put down a plug hole. So in the winter it's very important that you drain the water off, and this is one of the points you'd want to drain off, as you wouldn't want it to freeze in the plastic tank underneath the chassis. Here you have your cassette loo. So again, opens with a little key, and then what you'll need to do is just lift. Obviously make sure the blade's closed first on the ball of the toilet, otherwise you will not be able to get the cassette out. Lift and slide out, so you can slide it out like so. Once you've slid the cassette out, you would remove the cap so you get your spout like this. You've got a handle on there as well, so you can drag that round the side when it's heavy and full. And then what you'd do is you'd go to your waste disposal site, and then you'd press the orange button at the back here. So if you just press the orange button like so, tip it out. Once you've tipped it out, if you put there's normally a tap, put a bit of water through here, give it a rinse, tip out again, and then if you're using the liquid, you'd use the cap which goes on the end of here, which is in the van, to measure the liquid. And so a cap full of liquid into here. But if you're using the chemical, you'd obviously put a pint of water in here by the tap next to the waste point on your site, and then you put a tablet down there as well. So you can either get it in a liquid or a tablet form. The tablet form's more popular these days as it takes less storage than the bottles of liquid, but the bottles of liquid can still be used. Coming to the back of the garage, so again you'd use your key, and you'd obviously got lock and unlock there indicating on the doors. Pull the 2 catches, and in the back of here you've got your garage space. You've got a nice big garage. You've got a light there, so should you be getting things in and out the garage in the dark, you can see there. Obviously you've got your silver screens which go around the outside of the vehicle, so this reflects or keeps the vehicle warm when cold, and obviously reflects the heat when it's warm. You've got your loose fit carpets for the motorhome and your cab mat underneath there. And then them 2 cushions are your infill cushions for making the front bed, which I'll show you when we're inside how to do so. It is heated, the garage, by the diesel heater. You've got 12 volt and 240 in here. And obviously this is the access panel from your bathroom into your garage. Come round the back of the vehicle. So this customer has opted a bike rack, as this is just a generic video, so we'll do this video and send it to all of our 640 VIP customers. So this customer has put a 2 bike rack on here. So to use, you just obviously unclip these from the rail, pull the rail down, you put your bikes on here, and these will go through the spokes to tie the wheels to the rail, and then these would just clip around the crossbar, so you've got your first bike and your second bike to keep the bike secure. Then what I'd say, put a bike lock or a chain round the bike rack and the bikes just to keep them secure if you're pulling in on your way down to your site, on services or petrol stations. Obviously you don't want your bikes to be stolen. And then at the top you've got your reverse camera and high level brake light. And then if you ever want reversing sensors fitted in the near future, there's these little round bits on the bumper where you can get reverse sensors fitted and it looks factory fresh. Coming down the passenger side, you've got your, this is what's called your Techni-box unit. So in here you've got your fresh water filler and all your electrics. So if I just open it up, so to fill with water, fresh water, take the cap off, you'd put a hose pipe in there. So I'd go and buy a hose pipe with some hose locker ends, a few adapters. It's just a brass tap on most sites. Put your hose in there, either fill it until it overflows or fill it until you're happy there's enough water. You can see how much water is in the tank, and you can also, it has a level indicator on the main control panel inside. So if you've got 100% of water, so you're full, you'd have to take a full tank if you're wild camping. If you're going to a site, tend to take a maximum of 20 litres. That enables you to use the toilet and have a cup of tea should it be a long drive. But if you're going to wild camp, obviously you will have to take your water with you as there's nowhere to top up. But say you're on site and you've got a full tank of water and you're ready to drive home or drive to your next site and you want to just drop some water to increase your payload or make you better on fuel, you've got this little lever here which is called a travel drain. If you lift that up, it starts tipping the water out underneath. So you lift that up, then you put the pump on inside and you open the tap and it'll go from 100% to 20%, and that's all it'll take out. But if you want to drain the rest of the 20%, or if you just want to drain the whole tank without using that, there is a little bung underneath the vehicle that you would just pull off. So it's a 15mm plumber's compression fitting, which is just here, and you would just pull that off, and that's how you'd winterize the vehicle, by dropping all your fresh water. So if you're taking on contaminated water or you're wanting to drain it off completely for the winter, you would just pull that little black fitting off, put it somewhere safe, and that'll drain off all the water underneath. On the other side of the Techni-box locker, you've got all your electrics. So this is where you'll find your RCD trips. So say you've tripped something out with a kettle or a hairdryer, you can try here before you try your site. You've got all your fuses for your various equipment, so all your 12 volt, and then these two fuses here are for your diesel heater. So with your diesel heater you need to have 1/4 of a tank of diesel or more for the diesel heater to work effectively, as does take a feed from your main chassis tank of diesel, and they're on different levels so that you can't drain it completely of diesel and then you won't be able to start the engine. But should it be too low and the light on the diesel heater goes from a flashing green, from a solid green light to a flashing green light, it indicates that there's a fault. What you can do is you can come out, remove these two fuses from these cases, obviously turn the heater off first, remove the fuses and then put them back in, and that will reset the heater. And then here you do have your mains connectivity point. So to hook the vehicle up, you'd get your 25-meter hookup lead, lift it up there, hook it on to the vehicle first, then the site, and then when unhooking, there's just a little blue clip in the left hand corner. You push that down, obviously unhook the site first and then do the vehicle last, so do it in reverse. This is your Truma vent cover, so when heating the water on gas, this cover must come off. So to lift off, you'd push down and lift off. If you were heating it on electric, it can stay on, but if you're using the gas side, it must come off, as it allows the fumes to come out the vehicle. Otherwise it will fail with a red light if this cover was on. The best place to keep this is in the passenger door pocket when the vehicle is in use. And then located next to it, you've got your external cold water feed, external shower for you to hose off your bikes, your boots, the dogs or the kids. So that's located there. you will have to turn the pump on inside, which I'll show you how to do so. Coming to the passenger door, you've got your diesel lockable filler cap, which opens with the main key, and below you've got your 19 litre AdBlue tank. So if you get the AdBlue light on, which comes between the temperature gauge and the fuel gauge and looks like an exhaust light, do fill it up with AdBlue as soon as possible, as if you don't, you've got about on AdBlue the tank will do about 5,500 miles before it needs AdBlue on a full tank. When it does come on, top it up, because if not you will get a warning light. It could not start and it may go into limp mode. Stepping into the cab, on the side of the passenger door you've got your tyre pressures. So 5.5 bar on front and back, which is 79.5 psi. Underneath the seat is where your leisure battery lives, so you've got one leisure battery underneath there, and your car battery is underneath the floor panel. So if you do need to replace it in the future, you would just get in here, or you want to put a charger on it, we'd put it on off the battery. Underneath the driver's seat is where you have a toolkit. So it's got a jack and a brace and a tone eye in there, so that's your toolkit there. This cover would just lift off and that would slide out. And then your bonnet release is on the side of the passenger dashboard there. So if we just have a quick look underneath the bonnet, then you can see in the door you've got your tyre inflation kit, as they don't come with a spare wheel, and you've got a fire extinguisher there, which is up to you where you put it. Underneath the bonnet you've got your so you've got your fluids, so you've got your screen wash. This cover lifts off and gives you access to your radiator coolant and your power steering fluid, which is this one, brake fluid, engine oil filler and dipstick for checking your levels. You've got your paint code there, which is the Blanco white, which is 249. You've got an earth for giving a jump start from underneath the bonnet, and then if you just put your key or a screwdriver in here and lift this panel up, there is your positive terminal. And then as you've got your weight plate from when it was just a chassis cab and Fiat didn't know what they were doing with it, then it became a motorhome. So this is your Trigano, which is part of the Chausson group, and it's 3.5 ton gross vehicle weight, 3.5 ton train weight. These vehicles can tow, but if you want to tow with a Chausson, what you've got to do is you've got to order a tow bar via the Trigano network. So any Chausson agent dealership would be able to order a tow bar for the vehicle. You will then get a new weight plate with a towing weight on. So at present you can't tow, so if you're pulled over by the police and you put a tow bar on which wasn't a Chausson tow bar, you wouldn't have a towing weight and you would be breaking the law. So do make sure if you want a tow bar, you get a Chausson tow bar, as you get a new weight plate, which means it's legal, and obviously it doesn't affect any warranties, as it's a Chausson approved item. You'll also notice in the bottom corner you've got your build number, so if you need any warranty claims, if you quote that number in the bottom right hand corner. So now in the vehicle, just above the habitation door, you've got your main control panel. So this is your 12 volt control panel, so to turn on, it's the first button. And then it indicates if you're hooked up or not. So at the moment we have got a hook up in, so it is on 240 volt. If you weren't hooked up, it would be running on 12 volt, which is just the leisure battery on its own. And then above you've got your master switch for all your lights, which are then all individually switched. So as you see, you've got your white lights there in the mirror, and the one at the top just your little blue night lights, and you've got various other lights. You've got your water pump there, which you turn on for any water, so taps, toilet, shower, exterior shower, the pump must be on to bring the water up to the tap. If there was no water in, don't put the pump on, as you could burn the motor out. Next one, you've got your owner light, which is the light above the habitation door on the outside of the vehicle. And then these buttons here correspond with these on the bottom. So this one, you've got the one of the trailer, which is basically saying the back end of the motorhome. So this is your leisure battery reading, fully charged as you can see. And then you've got the one of the truck, which is the Fiat chassis battery, which is fully charged. And then you've got your water, so this is your fresh water, which is half a tank of fresh water. If that went red, it's obviously indicating it needs topped up, and if this one went red, it's indicating that the waste needs emptying, which is behind the wheel down here. And then you can dim and brighten the panel, so should it be too bright for the people in the bed, you can dim it down, and should it be too dull for you to see, you can brighten it up. Next to it, you do have your Webasto diesel heater, so always make sure you've got a quarter of a tank of diesel or more, and then you'd always start it on full temperature. Give it 5 minutes to start the combustion. Obviously if the lights do start flickering, it's because with the diesel heater they wire it to the light circuit. So what you may want to do if the lights do start flickering, it's just because it's taking such a high current from the battery. You may want to just turn the engine on and start it that way, but you can just start it this way, it's fine, and it won't affect anything. So now in the kitchen area, you've got your 2 gas rings. So obviously make sure your gas is on here, you've got a light like so, and then allow it to cool before you put your glass lid down. And then this one here, which indicates by the red light, is your mains 240 volt electric hot plate. So again, once you've had this on, allow it to cool before you put the lid down, otherwise you could smash the cooker hood. Underneath you've got your grill and oven, so you've got your grill first. So there's your oven away at the bottom. And then if you go to your grill, like so, you may want to take the oven shelf and grill pan out when travelling, but always with the oven shelf make sure that the U shape goes to the back, as this is designed to stop the burner from being blocked. The other option is you wrap them up in a tea towel to stop them vibrating. You've got storage in here, a handy storage drawer underneath the oven, and a storage drawer here beside the oven. Cutlery drawer is here. You've got your 2 12 volt points for charging your devices, your electric table, a 240 volt socket, and your bed switches, which I'll get onto in a minute when I show how to make the beds. And then above, and this cupboard's very important because this is where your switches are for your hot water. So you've got Truma Boiler EL, which is this one, so the one closest to the cupboard door, and the one closest to the back wall of the vehicle is your Truma boiler, so this is gas. So this one is where the cover needs to come off, this one is where the cover doesn't need to come off, but you can use both together. Should you be desperate for hot water, you can use both sources, which obviously reduces the time it takes to heat the water. So with the gas, you've got 50 degrees of heating your water. So if you were on wild camping and you didn't have electric, so you didn't have this side, you'd use 50 degrees for showering, which is the top, off in the middle, and 70 degrees for doing your dishes. And then on this side, you would use 1 kilowatt, which is equivalent to 40 degrees. Off in the middle, and then 2 kilowatts, which is equivalent to 60 degrees there on electric. And like I say, you can have both on together should you wish to heat the water quicker. To operate your Fedfed styled fridge freezer, so you've got a big freezer box there and fridge. So it all through this control here, so you turn on and off here. A stands for automatic energy selection, so the brain of the fridge chooses what best source is available to the fridge, so i.e. gas, electric or battery, which the battery is a 12 volt feed from when the engine is running alone. It isn't a leisure battery, as the leisure battery couldn't power your fridge, so it would be from your engine battery when the van is running. So as you see, we're on automatic now, and it went straight to electric hookup. If I was to take the electric hookup out, it would go to gas. If I was then to start the vehicle's engine, it would go to the 12 volt, which is designed to keep the temperature at the same as it was when departing. So the idea with the battery is, if you're lucky enough to keep this at home, or you've got storage at your storage facility, electric at your storage facility even, what you would do is 2 days before, hook the vehicle up, give the chance to charge the leisure battery, put the fridge on, allow the fridge to get lovely and cold. The night before, you would go off shopping in the car, bring all the shopping in the vehicle, pack the fridge, allow that to chill overnight. If it was on automatic, it would just do its own thing. If not, you can just press the square button and change it. So there we've went to battery, it's showing a failed code 6, no 12 volt being received because the engine switched off. Or you've got the gas there, which will self-ignite. One thing with the automatic is, if you're pulling in for fuel, it's on electric 12 volt. Obviously it's going to get no electric, it's going to get no 12 volt because you've just turned the engine off, and now it's looking for gas. If the gas was to be open, it will light on gas, but this is programmed to not light on gas for 20 minutes so that it doesn't spark and blow the forecourt up if there was a fume of petrol and a naked flame. So if you were going wild camping and you're wondering why it's not working after you've switched the engine off, if you just put on a manual gas, it will then work. You've got your temperature here, and then this little switch here is basically stops the rubber from sticking to the door if it's on full temperature and you're on a site for a while. It stops it just sticking to the rubber around the freezer door there. One last thing with the fridge and freezer, once you're finished with it for the season, if you do, just give it a clean out. And then what you'll need to do, underneath here you've got a little toggle. If you pull that toggle out, and underneath here you've got a little toggle. If you just pop them in there, it allows it to, the fridge and freezer door to stay open on a jar, and it allows the fridge and freezer to breathe and stops all the nasty air being trapped in there and growing mould and getting very moist in there. Sorry. This customer has also fitted solar panels to the vehicle, so this is a dual charging solar panel. So as you can see on the monitor, it's charging battery 1 and 2. So you can see that it's a dual charging regulator, and this is just the meter to show you the volts and the current that is going into the batteries and what the levels are like. So that charges the leisure and the vehicle battery.
Yeah, I'll hold it too.
So to operate your Avtech Smart TV, which this customer has fitted on this vehicle, you turn it on by the light, but there is a master switch just behind here as well, so you can turn it off of all power. Turn it on. This customer hasn't fitted an aerial to the vehicle, but if he does in the future, obviously you would go to source and put it to Freeview TV and then press AQT, press and hold, and it'll ask you what country you're in. It's automatically set the UK, just press OK and it'll find as many channels as it can in your area. Failing that, you can use the smart facility that this customer has opted for. So you go to menu, go to options, this is the settings, go all the way down until you get network configuration, press OK, and then you want a Wi-Fi network and you want to go to base station, and then you'll find your network there. Obviously he does have Wi-Fi fitted to this vehicle as well, a 4G system. So you would just turn it on here, take the back off, remove the battery and put your SIM in. Obviously the SIM that's supplied doesn't come with any data on it, it's pretty useless. So what I would do is I would go to your local phone provider who you've got your mobile phone with and say you need a data only pay monthly SIM, and they'll supply you with one, and then connect it to here. So to connect, you just take the back off, and on the back there's a code. You would put that into the TV and all your other devices to connect to the Wi-Fi on board. So this boosts your 4G signal on your phone by 10 times as it's got an antenna on the roof. So you should always find a service for the telly to have it so it's smart. So to make your smart lounge into your travelling seats, remove all the cushions. If you hold the black catch back there and slide the seat forward, the backrest, obviously you've got ISOFIX points there should you have child's or grandkids car seats there for children's seats. Then what you do is you put the base cushion back on to the seat and the backrest on there like so, and then you got your head restraint which lives in the wardrobe, which just clips on there as well. And that would be how to make this. It would be the same on that side as well as this side. So behind the passenger seat, if you remove the cushions and lift the cupboard door open there underneath the seat, you've got this is where your Truma boiler lives, so it holds 10 litres of water at any one time. It's very important that you drain it down and you drain it off in the winter when you're not using it. this orange tap down here, or yellow tap should I say, you would just lift it up and that'll drain directly off underneath the chassis. You'd leave that standing up during the time you've got the vehicle in storage, or standing during the winter months. And then when you come to reuse it, you'd put it down, shut all the taps within the vehicle, fill the vehicle with cold water, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first, you'll get automatic cold water. Go to the hot side, it will cough, splutter as it's dragging the water from the main tank into the boiler, filling it up with 10 litres before it primes it through the taps. Then that is the system primed for the season. But do remember to drain the boiler off in the winter, as it isn't covered under any sort of warranty, as it's your responsibility to drain the vehicle down and basically not get frost damage in the boiler. So to operate your toilet, obviously make sure the pump's on. You've got your blue button here, which is your flush, and then this button here will get a light on when it indicates the cassette is full. So you'd always flush the toilet first. You can hear it flushing there. So flush it first, which lubricates the blade. Then open the blade, use the toilet, flush the toilet after use, and seal the blade. Always do it this way because the blade isn't 100% watertight, and this is on every vehicle, on caravans and motorhomes. And you don't want the water to seep out around the cassette and flood underneath the cassette, because you'll have to mop it out. So always flush first, which lubricates the blade, stops it sticking. Obviously you then open the blade, then you know that the water is going into the cassette and isn't going to start flooding around the cassette. And then obviously you'd want to isolate the blade so it opens to the right and then slide back to the left to isolate. In here you've got the toiletry cabinet there, your little light switch on your rocker, which is the most common question where you get asked, where's the light switch? It's here underneath the sink. Some more toiletry space. See, this is indicating that your pump's working on your taps. Put that on hot, as you can see it's getting the temperature there. So yeah, it's getting lovely and warm. You can see the steam coming off the water. Toiletry cabinet, which you can use the mirror to block the window should it be open. Slide around. To open your windows on the van, you just press the buttons in, slide out. Push it out, it'll stay out. You've got to push the window all the way out to bring it in, and then securely lock. Blackout blinds, so you'd pinch, slide up, slide them into the middle, and then you depart them. So this is the fly screen, the blackout blind, like so. At the back you've got your large wardrobe area. So that's your headrest for your smart lounge, which I'll get onto in a minute when I do the lounge. Got your bungee cords for your shelving to stop things flying forward when you're travelling. Got your drawers, and this keeps them from opening when travelling, and you've got little catches on this side. And then on the other side of the toilet you've got the shower. So your screens, always tie them back when travelling, and then they are just magnetic. And you've got your shower head, so when winterising, leave the mixer taps open, leave all the taps open within the vehicle. You will want to unscrew this from the shower head and allow the shower hose to lie down in the tray. As you can see, it's got quite a loop in there. Any water could potentially freeze in this pipe, and that's not what you want. And you've got a hanging rail for wet towels, but also doubles up for wet coats or wet clothing. So should they be wet, you can just put them in here. Close the concertina door, which it can be tied back as well. Put the heating on, and it'll get lovely and warm in here. Next to it you've got your skylight, so you can lock and unlock it. So always lock it once it's shut, unlock, and then you can use this winder to open. After you've had a shower, or just wanting ventilation in the bathroom, lock it, and then you do have a fly screen and a blackout blind. So now in the cab, to the right of the driver you have your handbrake. And then on the door itself you've got your Remus car blinds, which you'd pinch and slide along, and then you've got the same on the windscreen, so you can pinch the ones on the windscreen. If you've got any dash cams or anything like this customer has, just if you just fold them back, or you might have to remove them, so you might just have to unclip it off when and then you just feed the wire through, as they're just magnetic. Once you've got the lead in position, obviously they are just a magnetic catch, so you've just got to get the magnetic strips right just to connect. But then what I would do is put a bubble or an elastic band around if it's going to be a windy night, just to sort of ping it open. And then on the door you've got your electric windows, passenger and driver, and then your your mirrors, which have got 2 adjustments each way, so 4 positions on there. So you've got the top and the blind spot on each. This customer's also fitted a category 1 Vodafone alarm, which I'll go through in a second. But you've got your headlight adjustment, your rear fogs, and your auto start stop if you didn't want that. Trip computer on the end of the wiper stalk, which goes through your miles per gallon, your trips, your average fuel consumption, your range, your miles travelled, your time travelled, and so on. All your steering wheel controls, lights and indicators, cruise control at the top, off at the bottom, and speed limit at the bottom. So off in the middle, speed on the bottom, off, cruise control. Get the desired speed and push up, which sets the cruise, and obviously pushing will increase the speed or decrease the speed. And then the speed limiter, it'll come up in the top corner what the speed limiter. So if you push up in 1s, it goes up. If you push and hold, it goes up in 5s. And you do have the kick down function, whether if it was set to say 60 mile an hour, and you can do 70 in this as it's under 3.5 ton on the motorway. Kick it down and it'll go up to 70 if you need it to avoid a collision or anything like that. 9-speed manual gearbox for park, reverse, neutral, and drive. And drive modes here, so you've got eco, power, and normal. To be fair, we'll just leave it in normal. I don't see any advantage of eco, and obviously power just holds onto the gears that little bit more. You've got a USB down here for your head unit. This customer's also fitted a tracking system, so this is a driver card, so these need to be on you, whoever drives the vehicle, otherwise you'll get notified that the vehicle is on the move. So just do keep these in your pocket or in a purse or a wallet. Don't put them on the keys, because if you misplace your keys, they've got your tracker cards. And then these little fobs here are just if the key battery dies. Obviously you've got arm and disarm for the alarm, but that's all programmed through the main key. But obviously the spare on a Fiat's just a blade key, so you will need one on the spare. Coming down to the buttons, you've got your traction control off, you've got your hill descent with it being an automatic. Obviously it just applies a bit of an engine brake. Hazards, locks the carb on an evening, heated mirrors, and then you've got a USB and a 12 volt for charging purposes only. Temperature, you've got your fan speed there, so it must be on at least 1 or more for the aircon to work, which is this button here. And then you've got your distribution, so where you want it to go to, and either recirculating air or bringing fresh air in on the bottom here. Your X-end head unit, so you've got navigation, so it just need the card that's in the office inserted, so I can show you this on day of collection. You've got your camera, so you can have your rear view camera on all the time when going forward. On the shortcuts here, you've got DAB for your radio, so you can go to your list and you can find your channels, and then you can press 1 to 6 to save. Otherwise you do have FM if you can't use DAB by on the radio, so this is just standard FM radio. Bluetooth, so you go to Bluetooth and you'd find Accent, and this is the XF270 head unit. Find Accent on your phone, press pair on your phone, press pair on the head unit, and then allow the contacts to be saved, and that's your phone in there. And then you would just press the music icon, which is this one here, to use Bluetooth audio, as it doesn't take a CD. Then obviously USB and iPod would all become available once there was something connected in there. And then should you need to update the unit, if you just go in here and go to, so basically if you go on to Accent's website, find an update for an XF270 head unit, put it onto a memory stick, connect the memory stick, turn it onto ignition, put the memory stick in, and go to load software, load the latest free update onto there. So you'll notice when it needs an update, if it gets a bit slow or a bit glitchy, just to update it there, and that's how you do it. And then you do have a glove box here, and then a glove box on the top, which is heated and cooled by the air conditioning. And then just above here is obviously your key, so you can isolate the table and the bed should you need to. And then this skylight you would just open like a window and then wind, and then you do have a fly screen and a blackout curtain. And obviously you've got curtains there as well, which come across for in the winter months for a bit more thermal insulation. But that now brings us on to the end of the handover on the Chausson V.I.P 640 2021 model.